Welcome to PhD with Woman on It, Hack the Future. My name is Beata Young, and today's PhD Positivity Hacks delivered will be by our guest, Darinka Burovska. Topic: how to become a digital nomad and work online from anywhere. Episode 112 starts here. Let me remind you, this is a grassroots community that focuses on women on IT, an inclusive forum of women in technology, startups, and female leaders who are supported by men as well. And I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my mojo, and empathy is critical when you want to become a digital nomad. Let me first mention a couple of important happenings last week. A round of applause to Dr. Alice Good from Faculty of Technology, University of Portsmouth for having a well-deserved recognition on being awarded as MBE in King Charles III first birthday honors list last week for her work founding support group Sunflower Sisters, a group where they support Ukrainian women and their families in moving to the UK practically and emotionally. Congratulations to WomanTechmaker Ambassador, author, and our former PhD guest, Madonna Wambua, for successfully publishing her new book, Modern Android 13 Development Cookbook. May you inspire more people. Keep shining, Madonna. Now let's go back to our topic, how to become a digital nomad and work online from anywhere. In the ever-evolving landscape of work, the digital nomad lifestyle has emerged as an intriguing option for those seeking location independence and the freedom to work anywhere in the world. We are thrilled to welcome back Darinka Burovska, our esteemed guest for the second time. Darinka, a product discovery and product management coach based in Berlin, is a Google WomanTechmaker Ambassador with a strong passion for diversity and women empowerment. She is also a mentor for product management and has mentored over 100 professionals to improve their skills and grow their careers in tech. Don't miss this opportunity to ask Darinka a question and have some insight view into the world of digital nomad done right. Let's go to the question, Darinka. Where are you calling from? I suspect it's not something that I would expect. I thought you're going to be in Berlin, but...
Hi, Beta. This time I'm calling from Macedonia, my home country, where I'm originally coming from. And yeah, this is every time we speak or we have a call, I call from different country, and here this time it happens to be from Macedonia. So yeah.
Beautiful, Macedonia. What city in Macedonia?
Currently I'm in Skopje, the capital, but originally I come from a small town in the eastern part, which is referred to small Switzerland, called Berovo.
Mhm.
It's a mountainous place with beautiful mountains, beautiful lake, and it's becoming popular more and more recently. So a lot of tourists coming there. So yeah, if anyone looking for a remote location in the mountains, I can definitely recommend Berovo in Macedonia.
There you go. Right now from Skopje, Darinka is going to tell us how to become digital nomad, whereas I'm calling from Toruń, the birthplace of Nicolaus Copernicus, in the middle of beautiful Polish countryside. Now, Darinka, you have joined us from different location the last time we spoke. You were joining us from Tokyo, I believe, right?
That's correct. The last Positivity Hack Deliver episode was from Tokyo, and that was back in April. So because we had 7 hours difference back then, it was 1 a.m. But now I'm happy that we can have this episode and during a normal time at 6 p.m.
Yep. Absolutely, and you don't have to long hours. I'm delighted to see you fresh as a daisy. Now, Darinka, what made you choose this form of living and working? Why did you decide to become a digital nomad?
So that's the story goes into different from different angles. So I've always wanted to go on a longer travel, but because I was working full time in a company that a little bit complicated due to some company policies, due to some legal laws of working, especially in Germany, where I originally live and work. And I was always postponing this nomad life or this long travel tour until I was super unhappy at my work, or maybe happy is not the right word, but I was super burnout. And then I decided, okay, I don't want this lifestyle anymore. I really want to do what I always wanted to do. And then I decided, okay, I really need to have a hard break and decide how I want to take my career further. And I said, okay, now since I don't have this constraint or full time work while company policies and legal laws, said now is the time to really do my long wish of going traveling abroad for a long time. And during the way, I still wasn't sure what exactly what I want to do. But on the way while traveling, while I start my travels in Bali, in Indonesia, then I discovered that okay, this is a great lifestyle because I met a lot of digital nomads in Bali, great co-working spaces. The environment for work was great. There are a lot of entrepreneurs, the big community, also startup accelerators that are supporting entrepreneurs. And then here my perspectives open that okay, this is a great lifestyle because you can combine what wherever you want to live in the world, you can explore different countries, you can explore different cultures. You can basically choose your preferred way of working, your preferred space, while actually working on your projects. And because I am a product manager, I work in tech companies. It's easier to work remote, so it's not a problem that you work only with your team via meeting virtually because everyone works remotely. And as long as you can manage your time zones, or the time zone doesn't isn't a problem, or your client and the company and your teammate are within the similar time zone, or you can somehow manage the time zones, it's basically the perfect and optimal working time and a working pace. So I believe this will become the future, and more freelancers, more and more full-time employees will become freelancers, and more companies will be open to this remote work. So yeah, I see this is the only way forward moving as a digital nomad traveling and working.
Well, it's the benefit of working in technology. I believe it wouldn't be possible for some jobs. However, what was the conversation you had? Did you have to break the mold, or was it the chosen way of working from home due to COVID?
So exactly, I think due to COVID, we were basically everyone, companies and employees were basically forced to work remote. So I think this is one way that opened the perspective for the managers, the companies, but also the employees. So everyone who before wasn't sure how remote work will work or how teams will work together or how they will collaborate, this was proven that we can still collaborate and work together, no matter the location, no matter if we meet in person or not, no matter if we go 5 days to office or not. So I think this was a great opener for everyone to understand and to realize the opportunities of remote work. And basically, as I see now, more and more companies are open and comfortable to allow their employees to work from everywhere, and even more openings and positions state in their requirements or in their job ads that remote work is welcomed. And very interesting, I meet more and more companies that are remote first, so they don't have an office. All employees work remotely from everywhere, and they just meet on monthly level or on quarterly level everyone somewhere around the world. So I think this is a very interesting concept that I believe works well because I have spoken with people who work in remote first companies, also with management who are leading such companies. And there are so many benefits from remote first companies that I believe more and more the trend will go towards shifting remote first companies.
Well, Darinka, I'm glad you're talking about the benefits. We'll get probably to some of the downsides of that. However, let me just say hello to Olga Vasina. Yay, welcome back, Beata and Woman on it, and Darinka. Hello, welcome. Olga, lovely to hear you. And we have got a comment from a very old digital nomad. I'm not talking about age, it's just a number, but really, he is bragging. He has been bragging about the fact that he used to have a big modem and he would have to take it everywhere he went. So let's listen to what Patrick says. Great to hear about modern digital nomadry. I still have the cables from being a somewhat pioneering nomad in the mid 1990s when the www was it in its infancy. The biggest change is clearly Wi-Fi, homogeneity of cables, and thus ability to travel so easily. Great show. Thank you, Darinka and Beata. Now, let's go to the cables issue because, as we know, US is using different plugs and UK is using different plugs, and Asia also goes with different plugs. So, how do you prepare yourself for this travel?
So exactly, this was something that I always have on my mind when I travel, especially when I do country hopping in 3 months and I visit 6, 7 countries in just a short time. So if I take a different plug for all these countries, half of my backpack will be filled with plugs, electricity plugs. But fortunately, because of this problem, people have come up with universal plug where literally one plastic plug, you have all the different plug that you need, and you can just, with the press of a button, get the plug you need for the specific country. So that's the secret. Just get one plug, and then you basically can adapt with just one press of button to the country you need. So yeah, this saved my life because without the ability to charge your laptop or your phone in foreign country, you're literally stuck. So yeah, this is maybe the second thing after passport that you need to pack: the universal worldwide electricity plug.
So we talked about the benefits. So let's go back to the downside of, apart from the plugs that are different, but you solved that problem with having universal plug with a push of a button. You can change it anywhere you go. What are not so nice parts of being a digital nomad?
So of course, as everything you do in life, there are pros and cons. One of the con as a digital nomad is that you kind of lose a close contact with your close friends and family, because if you are away 4, 5, or even sometimes 6 months of your place of living, then you are losing touch with the close ones, and you cannot keep up with everything that is happening. Of course, you are constantly, you can call each other even on video call or constantly chatting on the communication apps. So that is all great, but you are missing sometimes even important family or friends occasions. So this is one drawback. The other is could be overwhelming at some point, could become, especially if you are doing country hopping every 2, 3 weeks like I was doing, because you are basically restarting the whole routine every 2 to 3 weeks, and then you have to find your perfect working spot, your perfect morning routine. Can you do sport in the morning in this specific location? What is the best coffee that can help you to get started in the morning? How to find the best uh, co-working space or place where you can work and also have meetings. Also, how to balance between sightseeing and working. What is the best balance? So basically, when you have to plan this every 2 to 3 weeks, could become overwhelming. But after some time, you also get used to this. So I see this as the two of the main drawbacks from this life.
But it's not too difficult when you're young and you have Word as your oyster, and you definitely can learn and hoover the culture and learn the language, learn customs. So there's lots to explore, and also it helps to boost creativity because the change of environment is definitely doing something with our brain because it opens new possibilities, challenges our pattern. Now we have a couple of questions, Olga. Lovely to see you again. And before we go, let's say hello to Jamil. Jamil was definitely asking questions to Darinka when she was last here. Good to see Darinka on PhD again. Absolutely lovely to see you, Jamil, as well. I have not seen you here for a bit. Now, Olga Vasina is asking, Darinka, very interesting. What do you feel you need tech-wise as a digital nomad? Specifically, do you have a global data provider, dongle, box, phone, or do you prefer VoIP, WhatsApp, or to telephony, or have a cell mobile with roaming?
That's a very important question, Olga. I have heard of a potential SIM card that could work globally or maybe on a specific area, for example, Europe or Asia-wise. But so far, I have not come up with this solution yet. I think this is still either proof of concept or still in ideation phase. So this would mean that I have had a SIM card in every different country I was going, because if you stay in one country for more than a week, so 2 to 3 weeks, as I was saying, you definitely need an internet because you want to be easily able to navigate and get all the information you need in the city. But also sometimes if the Wi-Fi is not stable, you want to have your cell phone as a backup option that you can get your own mobile data. So yes, the short answer is that you would need to get a SIM card in a different country. But the good thing about it is that it's very simple to get a SIM card. You just go either at the airport, they're selling SIM cards, or just in the nearest mobile shop, and you just describe for how long you're staying, how much data you need, and then you get the SIM card in no time. So it's very simple getting a new SIM card. And usually I prefer with for private communication apps like WhatsApp. When it comes to professional communication with my clients or with my teammates, we usually do it as same as normal, so either Zoom or Teams or any other conferencing tool. So I guess that doesn't change. It's the same as everywhere. So basically, the only change is just that you need a SIM card in a different country when you travel.
So, for a digital nomad working online and having access to technology, I guess 24/7, because allowing for the time difference, you still get some workers working when you're sleeping. Um, how much data do you reckon somebody should have for a month, month on month?
So this would depend if someone would use the mobile phone for to basically connect the working laptop on, or just need it for sightseeing. But I would recommend for all digital nomads who most probably at least 30 to 50% of their time they would need to get their mobile data, because the Wi-Fi will not be working, especially in some countries in Asia. Then I would recommend that to go always on the safe side and get 10 giga for 1 month. This is like a guiding number that can help someone how much giga they need. So yeah, for 1 month it's 10 gigabytes.
Okay. So 10 gig as a minimum. Did anything surprise you when you were purchasing data or SIM cards in foreign countries?
So not in general. That there was only one surprise in South Korea, because they have very strict rules and regulations there for everything. And I was not allowed to purchase SIM card on the airport because I was supposed to register upfront with all my information, with my flight number. So basically, that they expect me as a
Hello, hello. Hello, sorry for a little interruption. We're back. So you were talking about, yes, about the mobile data registering before you came to the country.
Exactly. So yeah, in order for this not to happen, you better get 10 gigs. No, just
Uh-huh.
joking. So the only issue I had with my buying my SIM card was in South Korea in Seoul, because before I am allowed to buy a SIM card, I was supposed to register upfront arrival in the country with all of my information, with my passport, with my reason for arrival, and I have not this information. I have not had registered, so they did not allow me to purchase a SIM card. So after some time of wandering around the airport, I found another provider which allowed me to buy a virtual SIM card that I was able to get only for internet and only for internet. So I could not use it for calling, and I could not use the number to register in some of their local apps. So this was basically a virtual SIM card only for data. Yeah, so this was the one of the only challenging thing I had with SIM cards. In the rest of the countries, Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia, it was very easy, and it was also the price was very was cheaper than in Europe. So besides South Korea, I had no other issues with SIM card.
Right, no issues with SIM card apart from Korea. Now we have another question from Olga. Let's go to this. What backup features do you need as a digital nomad? Are there not risk? Example, if you are in, say, hurricane season somewhere sunny, hot, which may leave you cut off from your clients.
Mm-hmm. So far I have not had any problems while I was traveling and working. So even if there was a problem with the Wi-Fi, I could use my mobile data. Or if there was no electricity because of wet season in Bali, which I caught it for just 2-3 weeks, and there's no electricity, or I cannot charge my laptop. It happens for only half day or one day. So far did not cause any problem with my teammates or with my clients. So I had not experienced any problems with this. Luckily, there were also not hurricanes. And backup features, I think you need to have this always in your mind that if if your client stop the work, how your trip will be affected. Would you need to look for another client, which could be stressful while traveling? Or you can basically have already another project that you're working on, but you're working on maybe on a slower pace while traveling. So you always have to have a backup plan while working on your main project. And also, what I usually do is having one main project and having more other projects, more of like a coaching or a teaching, where it's not taking too much of my time, but there are also projects which I can always count on and continue working also from everywhere. So I think this is would be the way forward to work while working and traveling.
So, Darinka, we know you have a support system in terms of online system from woman tech makers, for example, from your family and friends. But what about the physical, like more face-to-face support system? were you seeking it before you came, or were you establishing in it when you arrived in the country?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So this depends usually on the country itself and how long I'm staying. So if I'm staying longer than 2 weeks in the country, usually I join the community or Slack or Google TechMakers community or Google chapters upfront, and I reach out to people who are already in these locations where I'm staying. And also, I'm a part of a community of TopTal, which is a global freelance community for tech nomads, technical entrepreneurs. So I already reached in their communities and Slack channels for a specific country for everywhere in the world because they are both global communities. So in both communities, I reach out either directly to people or in those channels and communities, and basically I share what I'm doing, how long I'm staying, exactly in which area I'm staying, which co-working space I plan to work, and then if somebody is already there, we already exchange contacts. I ask for advice, I ask for anything important I need to know upfront coming to the country, and then when I reach out there personally, it happens most of the time that I have already met someone in these communities and that we already are I already am prepared for what is coming, or at least I have some information. And then once you are there in the space and in those co-working spaces or co-working cafes, because everyone is from somewhere traveling and working there, you immediately become part of the community, and then basically you have co-workers in person physically while there.
Sounds very exciting, Darinka. I guess for somebody who's quite young, it can be exciting. But have you seen, or do you recommend being a digital nomad when you have a family, when you have young kids?
This is a very interesting question, and I think it's a question which is ongoing topic. And the general public believes when you have young kids, you should not be digital nomad because it's so dangerous and so risky. But I was lucky to meet a lot of young parents on this digital nomad tour. Also going international flight. So when was my first when I started my second tour to Asia, to Bali in November. Just behind me, there was a young couple, which their baby was just less than a year, 8 9 months, and I was so curious that I asked them where they're going, and they say they are going 1 month co-working in Thailand, and this flight was Berlin to Singapore, which was 13 hours with Scoot Airlines. So I was really surprised that they are young parents with this baby going in Thailand on even on this long flight. And then I also met some other digital nomads who basically decided that it's better for their family to live in winter in Bali instead of in cold Germany because it's very cold, it's dark, and the kids have to stay inside. And basically meeting such examples of families going abroad and traveling for 13-hour flights with a baby really opened my mind and a perspective. Then when you really want this lifestyle, and when you enjoy exploring new countries, and when you enjoy warm weather in winter, then it's absolutely possible to do it with a newborn or with kids, as long as you, of course, are aware of the risks there and you take precautions and you are prepared and ready. I think you can, people can, and it's absolutely possible to do it with young kids as well.
Fabulous to hear that. We are encouraging to try your digital nomad tour with children or without children, but definitely take precautions, prepare yourself. Now, we have a question about accommodation, and let's go to this question. Olga Vasina is asking, thank you, terrific answer. Do you Airbnb, hotel, hostel, or source accommodation other ways, Darinka?
Great question, Olga. So because I am an absolute explorer, usually I want to try different types of accommodation as well. So my go-to is when I travel by myself to go to either apartment for digital nomads, which is usually called co-living. Outside is one example where you outside.com, where you can live, co-live and co-work together with other digital nomads. And when you travel by yourself, that's I would totally recommend, because you meet other people who also travel by themselves and are digital nomads. So that's a great way to basically have a very comfortable working environment, because the Wi-Fi and the meeting rooms are very well, and also the community is already there, so you can also learn something new, brainstorm new ideas, maybe even work on projects together, which happened to me once. If I travel with some of my friends, which are most of them are also digital nomads, then if we are a bigger group, go for Airbnb, because we can rent a house or a villa, especially in Bali, and we can have a very comfortable stay. But also, I want to sometimes go on the other edge and explore hostels or even cottage huts. Or once I stayed even in a temple in Korea, literally where the people who work in the temple stay. So that was also an interesting experience. And I was once what this was did not materialize, but once I was looking to stay in a very remote village in Laos, in actually the clay house, where you literally basically sleep almost on the ground, just a little bit of grass as a bed. So if there's an opportunity, I would definitely suggest to explore different accommodations, especially based on the country you are, because some things are authentic to experience. But Airbnb and hostels are the go-to for solo female travelers or solo travelers in general, and small groups.
Fantastic. And why didn't you choose sleeping on the grass?
Because I was back then with my two of my friends, and we were late to book. We were already had a hotel booked for the whole stay, and then we wanted to go to this village, but we discovered one day up front the tour, and the tour was already sold. It was like a tour experience, going in this village and experience in the wilderness in Laos, with beautiful nature, with literally eating on the table, on the floor, getting your own ingredients in the morning from the garden. So yeah, we missed this tour. It's on my bucket list to go back and experience this.
Excellent. I'm glad you have it on the a bucket list. That means you can come back and relate to us what it was like to live like a proper nomad, sitting on the floor, sleeping on the floor, eating on the floor. So, friendship. You mentioned the fact that you have some friends. You go together. Um, do you continue friendship after you've gone from the country, that you started friends, being friends with someone local?
Absolutely. So when I stay in a country for more than 3 weeks, usually four, and usually I go to the same co-work space, to the same yoga center, to the same beach bar, or not all the time the same, but to the similar places. So it becomes like a routine after 1 month. And basically, I meet the same people, or sometimes we plan to go on those places together. So after 1 month of having amazing memories together while working and traveling in a foreign country, especially I have to highlight again Bali, then you really develop some form of friendship, or even I would say it's a close friendship. And we definitely stay in touch. We are texting or calling each other here and there once a month or once every few months, just to keep in touch. But also with some of the friends that we become closer, we plan another tours together. So all of us submit or share their next nomad destinations, and then we discuss if all of us or the group that we were together can go on the same dates, if we want to do the same tour, if we want to do country hopping, so visiting 2 or 3 countries in 1 2 months, or just stay in one place for longer, so in one place for 1 or 2 months. And then from these discussions and connections, somebody else can bring somebody else, so the nomad group grows. And then basically you have a kind of a separate friend group, which is your nomad group of friends that you can basically plan these long nomad travels. And yeah, absolutely, I'm staying in touch, and I would looking forward to stay in touch in the future and to plan more nomad trips together.
Nomad trips together with friends. Darinka is recommending. We have a question from IPOVIT in Patrick's opinion. Patrick is asking, how many countries have you been a nomad on? And are any continents or countries much better for digital nomads?
That's a great question, Patrick, because I have a country counter. All of my friends are joking me about. It's on my Instagram profile. So I have been to 49 countries so far in my life, but I was a nomad for around 10 of them. Yeah, for around 10. I was nomad while working there, of which some of them I was a nomad for a short time, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. For other ones, I've been nomad for longer, 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, 10 countries as a nomad and 39 as a tourist, proper tourist. And which countries or continents are better? So I would say countries who have a very much advanced infrastructure, technology infrastructure, especially, and good Wi-Fi are better and more comfortable because you never need to worry about Wi-Fi. And in a co-work space or in a cafe, everywhere you go, you can just have a coffee, have a drink, and just open your laptop and work. But in some countries like Laos or even some places in Vietnam, there's no Wi-Fi everywhere, and even if there's Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi could not be great, so you cannot even have a video call. So here I had a little bit of trial and error. So if I had an important client call or important presentation to the team or to some of my clients, I had to basically test a Wi-Fi in a place the night before, or go 1 or 2 hours earlier to test the Wi-Fi in the place, see if I can have a video call, see how stable it is, then check my backup option, which is always my mobile data, test my call with friends from Europe, and basically ensure that the Wi-Fi is good. So this in countries with potential risk of Wi-Fi failure, you really need to it's on the nomad responsibility that comes with your lifestyle to ensure that and test that your working environment, especially Wi-Fi, is stable and you can have a normal and uninterrupted work. So yeah, this would be the difference between the countries, but also the other aspect of different countries and continents is the time zone. So ideally, you want to work to as close as time zone as possible, because otherwise you have to either stay very long or wake up early, which for longer time could become overwhelming. If it's for a few weeks, it's totally not a problem. You can do it. But if you plan to be a nomad for longer time, more than a month, I would say, then definitely try to be in a time zone which is as close as possible. So yeah, this would be my 2 recommendations in terms of locations. You're muted.
I am mute. Let's play with it. It's unmuted now. So, I was just saying namaste. Now, Olga Vasina is saying, I love it, Darinka. Thanks for the inspiration and great answers. Natalie Lanto is asking, hi, Beata and Darinka. What are some cost saving measures that digital nomads can implement to stretch their budget?
Thanks, Natalie. This is a great question. I've been asked this a lot, especially because my friends keep asking me, did you win a lottery, or what happens? How can you afford to travel? And basically, when you actually have when you have your budget properly planned, and when you know your burn rate per month, you can basically be a comfortable nomad without needing a lottery to win a lottery. So basically, when you're nomad, you need to look at your two biggest expenses, which are flights and accommodation. So my go-to strategy for booking flights is to book them and plan them around 2 to 3 months in advance, because then the prices are the most optimal. And I don't book on the first result that comes to Google or the first result that I have on Skyscanner. I usually start to do my flight research for 3 to 4 months in advance, and then I start tracking the prices of the flight when I'm going. And also, if I do country hopping, so that is usually because the countries are close to each other and there are 2 hour flights, sometimes there are 1 hour flights. Those flights are even they can be even less than 50 euro one way. So I am doing this flight research 4 months in advance, and then I track the prices. I also sometimes set alerts. Then when there's a change of this price for this destination in this month, please notify me of the apps that I'm using. And then after a few weeks of monitoring the prices, I already know the maximums and the minimums, or I already have an indication of the price. And then based on here, it can give me an idea around what is my flight budget. And usually when the flights are in a price comfortable for me to pay after this research, or when the price goes below some average, then is when I buy. And also once I buy, for example, this long flight, let's say Berlin to Indonesia or Berlin to anywhere in Asia, probably Singapore the best destination, then I also book the flight. So once you optimize your flight budget, then the next biggest expense is accommodation. And for accommodation, the range, luckily, we have a very wide range of type of accommodation, which can allow us to have a very variant budget. So based on the budget, you can book. If the budget is smaller, you can book hostels. Sometimes they are really amazing and clean hostels that you share a room with 1 or 2 people, but sometimes they're hostels where you have your own room, like Hostel Selena or a co-living space outside, which are usually sometimes spacious and wide spaces. And also, if you want some a more normal private apartment, then you can check a different range of prices in Airbnb. And basically, if the budget is small, book maybe a room in an apartment or just a smaller apartment. So I think accommodation you can really navigate based on your budget. And also, I book around 2 months in advance, because then the prices are usually the best. And also, if the budget is a concern, there is a couch surfing app where there are people around the globe who are willing to take digital nomads or travelers in general for free. So if you find hosts in different locations on this Couchsurf app, basically you can stay for free for a few days, and then you can change the host or then go to a hostel. So they are the prices for accommodation varies, and you can. It's really not a stopper if the budget is maybe lower. So yeah, I would say once you have the biggest expenses organized and planned upfront, the rest basically cannot surprise you. And I would say these would be the two advices around managing budget.
Fabulous advices. I would also add, apparently, if you use VPN, it's the prices may be even cheaper depending on from which location you're asking. So we have lovely comment from Marianne. Hello, Darinka. Have you been to the Philippines? We have many islands for you to visit and be a digital nomad. Marianne wants to meet with you clearly, maybe even offer you a couch surfing space.
Mariana, have been to Philippines to Bantayan Island. I was diving there, but I would come back for diving absolutely. And yeah, be a digital nomad there. It's absolutely lovely in Philippines.
Beautiful, excellent, Marianne. That's a date then. Olga Vasina is asking, how about banking? Do you have issues with banks, credit cards, PSP, etc., or any advice? What is best to use when you're a digital nomad?
Great question, Olga. So normally, no questions with banking. I have a TransferWise. So international banking, and my card is a regular Visa from TransferWise, and it's very simple to pay with card almost everywhere. So in some non so developed countries like maybe Laos or Vietnam or some places even in Bali, you're not allowed to pay with card. There are no the restaurant or the place itself doesn't have the machine to pay by card. In that case, you always have to have cash. And the general rule is to always have cash, especially when you're traveling to countries in Asia or even other continents. But to go back to the card issue, in general, if there's possibility to pay with card in the place where you are supposed to pay, you can pay with your standard Visa card. The only place where I could not always pay with card, or I had troubles even withdrawing cash from ATM, was South Korea again, because this international Visa card was not recognized in some of the machines, and also some local ATMs did not accept this card, so I had to only withdraw cash from international ATM. But this is, let's say, an isolated case in South Korea. The rest of the countries, I was having the ability to pay with card, or if countries like Laos and Vietnam and Cambodia, where not all places have card payment, then it was very easy to just withdraw from ATM and basically pay with cash. So in general, I did not have any issues with banking or cards. You just need to have in mind that and expect that you need to have cash with you at all time.
Well, since we are talking about cash right now, I wonder any advice how to avoid pickpocketing.
Yes, this was great. Luckily, I in 6 months in Asia, I did not have any problem with pickpocketing, or nothing was stolen, or nothing was lost. So I think in general those countries are very safe, especially maybe for internationals who go there. I have not had um, any bad experience with this. Of course, you need to be careful to not go in very deserted areas or areas which look dodgy, because you don't know what could happen there. So I have not had any experience, bad experience with this, and I would just suggest or advise that if you are careful and you have your backpack closed, you don't have clear valuables exposed in a very feasible or very visible place, and you're just basically moving around the areas which are very public and very lighted if it's at night, then in Asia specifically where I was, it's absolutely safe, and for 6 months no issue with that.
Now, a question about packing. You mentioned you've got your Instagram. You're like an influencer, I guess. First question: what's your Instagram? How can we find you? And the other question: how to pack for this kind of journey?
Okay, I can send the Instagram in chat, so it can be
Excellent.
shared later. So it's
Cool.
underscore INNAO. So Ina, my
Excellent.
short name. Yeah, we can share it later. And how do I pack? Yeah, this is an absolute critical question, because this is directly tied to your budget and to your flights. So I know we as a girl sometimes want to pack everything, and usually we have a big suitcase that needs to be checked in. But then, when you're traveling on a country hopping for 3 months, and when you need to switch 10 flights, and if you need to pay check-in luggage for all these countries, which for all these 10 flights, then your budget for flights doubles immediately. And I was thinking, okay, maybe that's not the brilliant idea to spend half of my flight budget or a significant amount of budget on check-in luggage. So then I was thinking, I really need to be minimalistic and just pack the essentials, because anyways, when we travel and we pack check-in luggage, we don't wear even 50% of what we packed. So I was approaching with this mindset that I really need to pack the essentials, and if something is not that essential and I need it, I can always buy there. So I was just packing the minimum amount of clothes for the country. So I was checking the weather, usually traveling to the country with countries with similar climate, similar weather, so that I can pack similar clothes. Then the basics of some other essentials like cosmetics, which you can also buy when you reach in the country, and just the essentials for the cables, the chargers, the laptop, and everything you need for your work. And once you choose that, usually you need to even cut from your essentials to be able to pack in a one carry-on suitcase and one small backpack. And then once you reach there, usually there you can use laundry services and wash your clothes. And usually in countries in Asia, there are sometimes even cosmetics, which are very good price, or anything else that you might need, you can also buy there. So I would absolutely advise to never take a carry-on luggage for such digital nomad trip. Always go with, sorry, I would never advise to bring checked-in luggage. Always take carry-on luggage, because whatever you need, you can buy there, and you will save yourself the hassle and the budget for paying for checked-in luggage.
Absolutely remember to have extra set of knickers in your carry-on. That's advice I learned the hard way when my luggage was lost. Anyway, let's go to your previous answer. If Darinka was on the magazine cover, she would say never stop exploring. But what about life lesson quote, and how did it change you?
Okay, so one life lesson quote is definitely whatever you think you can or you can't, you're right, by Henry Ford. And I've experienced this myself, because when I was thinking before, especially when I was working a full time job where you're really into this routine and this mindset, and you basically are not really thinking out of the box. And whenever I was thinking if I can travel or if I can do this or that, I was always thinking, probably it's too hard or it's too dangerous or it's too expensive. So I was trying to find excuses myself for not doing it, even though I wanted to do it. And then of course it didn't happen. So the moment when I decided, okay, I can do it, I want to do it, I can really, I just need to want to do it and plan it on time, and basically it can happen. So every time, not only for traveling but also for other projects, or for something else that I was planning to do but not really wanting it or not really planning to do, then it didn't happen. So basically, it's something that you have to really, really want to do it and believe, and make a plan in your head how you want to do it. And then basically, whatever, no matter how much hard it might look from hard, or how difficult or how impossible, once you want to do something and you really you're going for it, of course you can do it. So yeah, this would be my life lesson.
And now you mentioned we spoke about that before we joined this live stream, the burnout of digital nomad. Burnout is real, especially after lockdown. How did it happen for you, and how do you deal with burnout?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, it's good that you mentioned the lockdown and after the lockdown. So it happened for me that I was working a full-time job in a very dynamic environment, and also just coming from the lockdown and everything open. I just switched another job, another full-time job again, into a hyper growth company. When I joined, we just the company raised 70 million dollars Series B investment. Then we started hyper growing, and because I'm working product manager, I was basically in the middle of all these hyper dynamic, hyper growth uh, challenges that we had to face. And after a few months, I was not enjoying the work. My motivation was not as I would want to. I had difficulties to even sometimes focus on the meeting. So then I realized that, okay, maybe now this is a sign that I need to break my comfort zone, break my routine, and start something completely that might look scary and might look impossible. And basically, I decided to start my tour without having a specific plan what I want to do next. And basically, on when I started my traveling, I then started to basically, because I was breaking my routine of waking up, going to your daily stand up, working, hustling, usually chasing fire, chasing stakeholders, trying to reach some very ambitious goals every day. And because this was a completely new routine for me, it was traveling, exploring, discovering some meditation techniques, discovering the uh, basically something new every day. It really helped me overcome and basically open my new perspectives and define what I want to do next.
Now, let's go to Eleanor Roosevelt's quote: "Women are like tea bags. We don't know our true strength until we are in hot water." In life, how are you in hot water? How are you brewing, Darinka?
This is a great analogy because I believe women, or not women, people in general, you only grow when you are in hot water. Which actually, when you think of a tea bag, it's actually also the same analogy. You grow in hot water. Basically, what it means when you are in hot water, when you're in fire, when you are in a challenge or difficult situation, you know that the only way out is basically for you yourself to find how you're going to deal with this challenge, how you're going to overcome so you know there is no way out, there's no other possible scenario. You need to overcome and find a solution yourself. And when you are thinking basically out of the box, you're thinking creatively, how can I overcome this? How can I solve this challenge? How can I move forward? And for me personally, the only way to grow and to improve yourself and to challenge and to grow your mindset, to grow your skills, to practice your risk taking is when you are basically in the hot water and brewing.
The digital nomad lifestyle is not just about traveling, it's about embracing freedom, flexibility, and the opportunity to design your own life, as Amy Scott says. Now, Darinka, we know you travel all over the world, but if you could choose any country, any location, and have a private breakfast with any person in the world, who would you choose to have a private breakfast with? And where would you take them to?
Mhm. So for a place, it's definitely the place for open thinkers, for embracing, thinking out of the box, for embracing digital mindfulness and being feeling good about yourself, which is Bali. So I would have breakfast at Bali with Richard Branson. Why with him? While I was traveling on my last trip, I was reading his autobiography and seeing behind the scenes how he was thinking about solving these global human challenges and basically building the whole empire and building all of his giant companies. It really inspired me to have a different perspective on business, but also problem solving or approaching or defining which problems to be solved. So it would be Richard Branson in Bali for breakfast.
Excellent. I'm sure Richard would take you on Virgin and maybe even out of space. Anyway, thank you very much, Darinka, for a lovely digital nomad how to. 101. Uh, Thank you very much for comments from Olga, Patrick, Jamil, Natalie, and Marianne. And next week we are joining with Denise Conroy, and we are going to talk about building financial independence through financial literacy. Now, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. So that's definitely the idea behind Maya Angelou and behind Darinka's idea of how to change the mindset. Go outside of your comfort zone. Today is your day to hack the future, hack the positivity you want. Thank you.
Thank you.